Hi guys, and welcome back to another Metal Roast video. If you're new to the channel, go ahead, hit that subscribe button to keep up to date on all the content coming out. So today is a bit of a special day. We're doing something a bit different and talking about Bandcamp. Now, Bandcamp is one of my favorite places when it comes to discovering new music, seeking it out, getting recommendations, and of course, purchasing music from there as well, because unlike Spotify and Apple Music and whatever, a good chunk of the money spent on music has actually gone to the artist, which I want to support the best way I can, especially in these lockdown times as we are in. Now, the funny thing about Bandcamp is that pretty much anybody can put their music on there, which means you end up getting quite a varying degree of quality. With that, today I thought I would show off some of my findings that I discovered when deep diving into the world of Bandcamp. So if you enjoy this video, give it a like and let's do this. The first album I ended up discovering was this project called Gimli, Son of Gloin. Now, Gimli of course is the dwarf from Lord of the Rings, and I'm all for that. You know, when it comes to writing music, you tend to find inspiration in many fields. Some people find it in fine art, some people find it in video games, and other musical artists as well. Movies are no exception, and Lord of the Rings, of course, epicness, symphonic elements, and fun fact, if you didn't know, that both Gorgoroth and Amon Amarth have their names based off places in Lord of the Rings, or in the Tolkien universe. So it's not a hard stretch to believe that Lord of the Rings would be a part of someone's project. However, this is a bit different. You see, this project is very interesting in that the person took the dialogue from Gimli in the movies and put him into a slamming deathcore track. Now, what do I mean by that? So this album, actually I'm gonna have to get my laptop because this isn't a short name. So this album is called At Last, Dorian's mightiest son returns to the field of battle with axe in hand and glory in his heart. What a mouthful. But pretty much what this project is, a set of tracks where the person has taken dialogue from the movie Lord of the Rings and sort of interspersed them with a bunch of riffs. A similar project that did this before is this band called, I can't say the name because I'm going to get demonetized, so I'm going to leave it here, but its acronym is OCD. And they did a similar thing where they would splice in movie quotes from famous movies and have them sort of break up the whole heavy riffage. And when I was listening to this, I was like, what? Really? This is new? This is new? And overall, as a parody project, it's quite funny. Of course, this is not going to be like your #1 top tier list stuff, but I think definitely if you want to get a quick laugh, it's definitely worth it. So that's the first album I discovered in my deep dive findings, Gimli, Son of Gloin, and I am not bothered to repeat the name of the album, so I'll just write it somewhere. So if you've been following the channel long enough, you'll know that one of my favorite genres in metal is, of course, thal. Yes, that's the idiotic genre that features bands such as Viljarta, Humanity's Last Breath, Reagan, Fractalize, Frostbite, thallahu, the list goes on. And it's just a brutal, low-tuned assault on the ears that's usually quite ambient, quite atmospheric. So when it comes to thal bands, I generally do tend to enjoy them. But the one I found in my travels this time sort of perplexed me in a way that I've never felt before, and a bit shocked, if anything. And that is the band thallahu Akbar with their album called Jihad with a D. So, what can I say about this band? Well, it is a project where they took samples of Al Qaeda recordings and put them in their music, which is just wow. I'm not gonna lie, it must stem from the whole idea of, like, you know, metal, we need to sort of one-up ourselves. We need to see who's the most brutal band out there. Okay, and what's pretty brutal right now? Terrorism. So I assume that's where it stems from, because I can't think of any other reason. And it's just a hilarious combo. And what's really cool about this project as well is that they not only use the samplings and the recordings, but they actually tried to use them as like a replacement for the vocalist, in that they timed the recordings, the samples, to fit with the music, which I gotta say that's a one-up from the first album we talked about, Gimli, the Son of Gloin, where Gimli's was pretty much they would just play the sample and have it in complete isolation, and then they would have the instrumentation come in after or before it. So I guess one props to them on that. And if we just talk about the instrumentation, I think the instrumentation's fucking fantastic. It's heavy, it's everything thal is, it's ambient, it has really low tuned guitars that create that sort of like sludgy, swampy feel to it. And overall, the instrumentation is great, but then the added layer of the recordings and lyrics, my God. Bruh. I was not expecting that. And not gonna lie, I was laughing through most of the album. You can't make this shit up. But that's the stuff you find when you're diving through Bandcamp, and then you just stumble upon some of the most obscure stuff in the world. Anyway, that's the second one I found, thallahu akbar with their album Jihad. And finally, coming to the last one I picked is one that I've known for quite a while, but I've never really known how to discuss it or how to talk about it because it's so, what can I say, weird. Not weird, so interesting. Let's just say that. Going back to the first pick I had where I was saying how people find inspiration in a lot of mediums. We have film, video games, other musical artists, fine art, sculptures, whatever. And this one we're going back to the film as well. But I wasn't expecting them to be inspired by one such film. But anyway, so the third pick is one featuring none other than the big green giant himself, not that one. And that is of course Shrek. Yep. That's right, Shrek. So for this final pick, we'll be talking about the band, the Ogre, Pack of Slammers, and their album, Giant Green Destruction.
What everyone likes.
What to say about this album? Well, for starters, if it's not obvious, this is a Shrek-themed project by a trio. They took Slam and Shrek and brought it together. And not gonna lie, out of the three projects that I've looked at, this is probably the one that's actually the most coherent and in some ways actually good and can stand up to a lot of slam bands. Because in general, I feel like slam has been that genre where it's always the more goofier stuff to begin with anyway. I don't get the sense that slam projects tend to go for the whole serious route and definitely opt for the more wackier, goofy topics and thematics. And this is no different. This album opens up with a dialogue between Donkey and Shrek in reference to the Onion dialogue where Shrek's talking about how ogres have layers. And what is really cool about it is that they changed the background instrumentation to be a bit more dissonant, a bit more like, huh? And what it does is it just changes the entire scene completely from being this sort of like, you know, this funny back and forth talking about how ogres have layers, they're like onions and so on, to something that sounds like more of a scene out of a serial killer movie. It's pretty much the best setup you can have for an album like this. Afterwards, it then delves into just heavy slam with some of the funniest lyrics I can think of. Granted, even though it is a Shrek themed album, it definitely ups the perversion level of Shrek to the next level with some really foul and disgusting lyricism. My god. And to top it all off, this album also has features, and not just any features, like decent features as well. We have Greg from the band Shrine of Malice having a feature spot on this album, as well as Trey Perdue, which if you don't know is the guitarist from the band Worm Shepherd. And also Worm Shepherd, I did a review for them, go check that out. Pretty much this is a solid album. Thematically, yes, it's goofy and ridiculous, but besides that, the mix is pretty solid. It's heavy, the drums are crushing, the guitars are sounding slammy as ever, and the vocals are actually pretty solid. There was actually a decent amount of effort put into this, and in a way the most amount of effort I've seen for a parody project. And on top of all that, they also did a cover for the legendary track All Star by the band Smash Mouth, so I gotta give them props for that. A slam cover of that track, just beautiful, just beautiful. So in that sense, I gotta give props to this album for making a parody into something that's decent. As I said, you can't make this shit up. It's so insane. But anyway, I'm gonna leave the video there. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and also subscribe to keep up to date on all the content coming out. I have my Sunday live streams from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. GMT every Sunday, so if you are interested to come down, chill out, listen to some music, and just hang out and have a good time, come and join me for those. And on top of that, I actually have a way for you guys to support me if you so wish. So if you want to donate to this channel to help it grow and help me make the best content possible, you can at the link down below. But besides that, I'd like to say a huge thank you to everyone watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.